Do you want to be a better salesperson without being salesy and without feeling weird about it? This is exactly what we're going to show you step by step in this episode with the amazing Aleasha Bahr.
Brilliant.
I honestly really missed sales too, and saw a really big gap in sales training available because most of it is like very one size fits all. There's something uncomfortable about it that makes people feel like they're bad at sales and they have to do it anyway. And the people that are good at it end up kind of sounding like douchebags a lot of the time. So you will convert a lot more people not sounding like a salesperson,
Yes.
just a human having a regular conversation. So what I do is really different because I have a proven process that I customize to you. So it's not like, okay, you need to do thousands of repetitions of this thing. It feels weird. It doesn't matter. Do it anyway. And you'll bomb a bunch. And then eventually you'll be good at sales, which is just horribly painful and not true either. So like we were kind of saying before the show, there's no one size fits all. There's not one way to do anything in life. There's different ways to do math. There's different ways to change tires. There's different ways to fold sheets. It just goes on and on. So the fact that you would say that there's only one way to do sales when there's such a variety and diversity of personalities and people and services and audiences is wild to me. So the good news is you don't have to do anything that's uncomfortable. It can work immediately from the start, and you will convert a lot more people not doing something uncomfortable.
You work with a lot of salespeople and solopreneurs and people who want to sell, who feel uncomfortable selling. Why is that?
So usually it's that they've had a bad experience with a salesperson and they're just so terrified of coming off like that they go 180 in the opposite direction and are underselling a lot of the time, or just don't know what they're doing. And ironically, people that you engage with that are like, it's an unpleasant experience, it's typically because of training that they've had. People are naturally good at sales. You talk to a kid, fantastic persuaders. They adjust their strategy depending on who they talk to, which parent, is it a teacher, is it a friend? They're very good at it. And people just get weird about it because it's also a conversation that you have constantly, not just in business, but people feel weird when there's like money exchanged. This is what it looks like to move forward. And it's not like this focus the whole time on how am I going to sell them? It's like, can I even help them? I don't know yet. So the first part of my process is that I ask a ton of questions. So I need to understand you, what you want, and what your clients want. And that helps the process moving forward. The first thing that I would want to ask is, what is your promise to clients? Because I bet that there's like different levels of clients that you have. Like maybe you like doing the ones where you do all the stuff for them. Maybe you like the ones where you don't have to do all the stuff for them. And that's like something that we would talk about deeper, but just generally I can see that when somebody makes an appointment to talk to you, you would want to ask a few key questions first. Like, what is your annual revenue? How many people are on your marketing team? And you'd want to have a couple ranges. And then like they can also pick an agency. You'd want to ask, what is their offer and how much is it? And you'd want to make sure that it's a service, it sounds like, not like a product of some kind. And you'd want to make sure it was hitting a certain price point. And then you might even want to ask, how long have you been in business? And I mean, it'd be good to know if you were wanting more clients who needed everything or less clients that needed everything. Another thing that you can ask is, what do you want help with? And you list like all the services that you offer, like branding and logo, just launching a podcast, bringing in clients, blah, 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 blah. And that can really pre-frame them to be like, wow, these guys help with so much. I'm excited about this, basically. So those things would let you know before getting on the call that this is my ideal client, or have an idea of where to take the conversation from the very beginning. And if they're not an ideal client, you can reach out to them and say, hey, I see that you only have 1 to 2 marketing people on your team right now. You're probably a little small to really experience the benefits that we offer. I have some resources in the meantime. Would you like me to send them over? Or I have somebody that I could refer you to that works with smaller teams or whatever. And so you just filter out those conversations. So you're not talking to people who aren't a fit, because if you're talking to everybody, then you don't have the energy to be quality for the right people. And it's doing a disservice to them also. They don't want to talk to somebody that's not going to help them, that's not a fit.
Yeah.
So it's not like, you're poor, I don't want to work with you. It's like, no, I don't want to talk to you if I can't afford your stuff, if I can't benefit from it. So that does help a lot, dialing in who that person is, who says yes, and who you really love working with.
I'm wondering, do you suggest I do this on an automated way, like an online form or even on my Calendly? Or do you suggest, here's a pre-qualifying call that I do that is a 10-minute call that I ask the questions?
I prefer to do that with a calendar where they select the time and date, and then they fill out some questions. And if they don't want to take the time to fill out the questions, they're not a fit.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, by the way. I know people like, oh, no. I want to take as many calls as I can. I'm like, no.
To burn out,
I want to take the least amount of calls that I can that will actually convert the most amount of business.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. It's much more fun that way, and you make way more money. It feels counterintuitive. Like, the more I take, the more money I'll make. And that is absolutely, I've seen it time and time again, not the case. You will make less money for sure. Okay. So this is important because some of those questions are questions that you would ask once you started working together. So there is like a little bit of a difference with an intake form and the questions you ask on a sales call. Definitely want to ask, like, what does your marketing team do? What positions do you have?
Yeah.
And the other thing that's really important that I work with people on is having feedback for every answer. So instead of just being like Q&A, and it feels like I'm being grilled, you're like, oh, great, you have an SEO person and a social media person. So they would be able to take this content and really leverage it to get that ranking on Google much higher, much faster. And you would have content for every social media platform that you need. So being able to give that feedback after their answer, I call it pitch weaving. It's like little bite-sized pitches. It's not like you're manipulating, you're just sharing, oh, great, this makes you a fit. Like, you're sharing that information with them as you go. Oh, that's your goal. That's totally realistic. We can do that. That expectation. A lot of times people don't tell people that they have realistic expectation. Let them know. That's exciting news. Like, this is what we can do for you. It kind of becomes customized in that way. You would want to ask, I think you would get the answer about, like, if they want to share value from, why do you want to start a podcast?
Yeah.
Like, why are you looking at podcasting? And somewhere in that answer would be like, I know we have something really different, like a message, blah, blah, blah. And you'd be like, great. If they're just like, I don't know, I like heard it's a good, lead gen opportunity. You could ask some more questions, but like probably not the greatest. And you don't want to tell those people like, sorry, it's not a fit. You can just be like, I don't think that I'm the best fit for you right now, but I have somebody who could really help you. It sounds like you're at this level, and you prepare them when you're at this level, like when you have these things in place, come back and we'll help you, have the same growth in a year that you would have in 4 years or so. I call it pitch weaving, and it makes it so that you have a lot less heavy lifting to do at the end of the conversation. And then also you can uncover objections throughout. So like, is this timeline realistic for you? Like, whenever you do your little bite-sized pitch, you're going to say like, the thing about how SEO, this will really up your rankings. And then you have social media content for every platform. You would ask, is that something that they're looking for? You would ask afterwards to make sure, because they might be like, actually, we have our content planned out, months in advance. And it's like, okay, well, is there opportunity to weave some in? You need to have that conversation ahead of time instead of at the end, them just being like, I don't know, I'll let you know. And you're not sure, because in their mind, they're thinking, it sounds like something we already have going on. So yeah, asking that question after the bite-sized pitch, that's checking in like, hey, did that resonate with you? Essentially, like really helps less heavy lifting at the end. And so then once you have all the answers and you've talked through everything, you have a really good understanding of what their hesitations would be and what they wouldn't, and all that. Then you're going to let them know, like, I don't see any red flags here. Like, you seem like a great fit because of all of these reasons. You remind me a lot of my client who was a real estate investor who share client story, who we helped go up to 40 million in 4 years. So when we work with people, it's X amount of time. And there are 3 phases to it. So I don't like the whole permission selling thing. I think it's weird. I think it makes it feel like a sales conversation when you're like, okay, so now I'm going to share how we work together. Is that okay? Everybody's like defenses go up and you see them like lean back, like, here's the pitch. You just kind of naturally roll into it. So when we work together with people, it's, 16 weeks. And I would have to ask you a ton of questions about your service and how to best make it super concise. But I'm just going to like guess here. Yeah.
You're the salesperson. You should be able to wing it.
I think you've got a lot of things that are super cool and differentiating about you, which I always like to include at the beginning. The thing that's really different about us is that we can enable you to be visible constantly on all platforms in a strategic way that allows you to have a constant stream of ideal clients. So you're not just like pushing out content to push out content. It's very strategic. It's designed in a way that engages your ideal client almost immediately. So when we work with people, it's X amount of time, and there are 3 phases to it. The first phase is really understanding your company, how it works, what's different about you, your audience, and how you bring value to them. So that enables us to to create the questions that are going to get the information out of you that will be the most powerful for your ideal clients. So you can post those on all of the platforms and be visible and engage them. And you always want to connect to the result. A lot of people just talk about what they do and they're not like, so then you have a consistent stream of clients. Need to connect the dot. The second phase is actually implementing it. So you said that you don't have a host. That's fine. We provide a host for you. You said that in the past, it ended up being too much work. We do all the work for you. We edit everything. We have 7-day turnaround times, whatever. We'll work hand in hand with your marketing team to understand like whatever launch dates you have going on, whatever marketing promos in that moment, and also understand what's performing well to this point so we can provide the best content for them in those moments so they really don't have to do as much work. The end result is they do a lot less work because marketing teams are overloaded. This enables them to do what they do best without being overwhelmed so that you guys can be really efficient when you bring in your clients, when you have that steady incoming lead source. And then the third phase is really just working hand in hand with your marketing team to understand the reporting and analytics of what's working best